Media. It's well preserved, right? Well, for the most part it is. If you look at movies, TV, books, they are pretty well preserved. We have books that were from way back when. We got movies from late 1800s. But if you look at video games and some other forms of technology, they're nowhere near as well preserved. And for what reason? Well, movies are, for some reason, and books are both deemed as more important to preserve and better forms of art than these. And why? Well, the media does not view it as a big thing, and for the longest time, video games were viewed as a nerdy thing, and even now, some people still view it as a nerdy thing, and it's not. Video games do a great job at telling stories and showing art. Better job than books and movies even. And they're just treated like junk and trash. Like, good example, even from the 90s, which isn't that long ago. The Satellaview, which was an attachment for the Super Famicom in Japan. You could stream video games via the internet and a satellite. And even now, that's considered a brand new, big thing. And it's not even that new, because it was being done in the 90s. But if you look back at it, we can't even find most of those games just because no one really took the time to try to preserve them. Very few of those games are even available in any way, shape, or form. Art, technology, it's important to know where we came from. It's important to look back at what we had, so we can improve upon it. Most people don't even know that the first video game ever was created back in 1958 by a scientist with a supercomputer. He made a tennis game from his supercomputer, and they even held open houses for it and got people to look at it and be like, wow, this is cool. And that led to Atari in the 70s creating Pong, which is credited as the first video game by some people, but it's wrong. It was back in 1958, some scientist dude did it. So why does the media not view this as an issue? Well, some outlets do. Some outlets say that it is an issue that needs to be fixed, video games need to be preserved, but they view it as not their problem. They view it as the problem of the fans, of the people who are buying them. And that's not fair, because this can get expensive. Very expensive. And not everybody can just be able to spend money on these things. Not everybody has the income for it. Not everybody has the flexibility to be able to do this. The only reason I'm even able to do it is because I don't have to pay any taxes or rent or anything like that. If I had to pay these things, I would not be able to have these. And most people have to pay these things, so they can't just spend a couple $100s on a single video game, because there are some video games themselves that are worth more than $100. Some of them have even sold for millions of dollars. So it's not cheap. There are even scholars that say video games need to be preserved. They are important. They are art. They are part of our past. So why aren't we listening to them? And they even acknowledge the fact that the only thing that's making it hard is the fact that they're so expensive and that so little has really been done to preserve them. And I think the media should use their reach. They should use all the people that they have to talk to, all the money that they have to spread awareness and try to get people to preserve this and use their money to preserve it. And the game companies that created these things, shouldn't they care? They made it. Shouldn't they use some of their own money to preserve it instead of leaving it to fans and then suing fans when they do something they don't like? It's not right. And it needs to do better, because video games are art. They are. Deal with it. They do great storytelling, they do great visuals, everything like that. So as you can see, this is clearly an issue that needs to be solved. There needs to be better work done to preserve this old technology. And not just video games, but older technology as a whole. she agrees. Thank you. She agrees. So, work on it. Because this is important to our past and our future. That is all. Oh, and real quick, here are some examples of some video games that have been rated really well for their art and story. Enjoy!